that. All right, live stream is on. So welcome back, everybody. Thanks for that 20 minutes of hard work on the principle that your group was assigned to, that you had chosen to work on. So as we report, we're going to report back from each of these different groups, and you're going to tell your fellow panelists, or the representative from each group is going to tell the rest of the panel what you worked on. To let them know what the Stephanie says she can't hear anything. Well, hopefully somebody can help with that. So remind the group which one you worked on and what you changed about it. And if we can do this as quickly as possible, that'll be great. That'll leave as much time as possible for feedback from your fellow panelists. Fellow panelists probably don't need you to read the original because they have the original in front of them. So just remind them which number it is, and then mention what the changes were. Looks like Stephanie is still having some trouble. If somebody can help out with her. All right. So let's see, what else do I need to tell you here? Right. So also get out a pen and paper to take notes when people are responding to giving you feedback about the principle that your group worked on. Take some notes because you'll come back to that and make some changes next time. We will be coming back to this, albeit briefly, in a future session. So you'll have time to work on this a little bit more. So we're going to go around, and we're going to go 2 groups at a time. So groups 1 and 2 will go first, and I'm just going to go in order here. I will put up on my screen what's in the document so that we can see your notes and you can refer to them. I'm going to start that now. So, all right. As I said, yeah, keep these little introductions to your work to about 30 seconds or so we can try to get as much feedback in here as possible. So real quick sort of intro to what you did in your small group, and whoever the representative is for group 1, go ahead.
Oh, hello, Lynn, that's me. We changed our reference as true facts science rather than opinion or politics. So we added the word politics after opinion. And that really kind of was the consensus of the group that's kind of our drill down point. And then we had a lot of points after that. The reference to the 1919 pandemic was merely needing to know that we do not want to repeat the history, that we need to get on top of this before the second wave and not get the 3-year length of that pandemic. The other one was we needed to listen to more of the ground level science on that principle and try to go from the ground up rather than having the person at the top make the decision based on those politics or opinions. And then we needed to check in at least daily and minimally weekly revise over those opinions, or not those opinions, but the decisions on the science to see if we need to adjust those areas. That's it.
All right, super, thanks. And let's go to the representative for group 2. Go ahead.
Ken, would you jump in there? Ken, are you willing to kind of describe what we came up with?
Yeah, am I unmuted now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good, it's down there because I didn't get it all written down for the end. We reworded it a bit to try to make it into more of a principle and to make it broad. And so it came out as partisan politics should play no role in Oregon's pandemic response, but currently is. Politicians should not attempt to use the pandemic as a campaign tool. Pandemic-related policies need to be based on science, expert advice, and facts rather than acting out of personal or party gain. We just thought that, sort of captured the idea more broadly.
All right, super. I'm gonna look up, raise your hand if you have a comment about what either of those groups has done. I'll sort of bounce back and forth between the the work here so that you can see what they've worked on. Put your hand up in if you have a comment about what either of those groups has worked on. So I guess here, if I'm reading this right, this is that's the section, Ken, that you're focusing on there. Is that right?
Right. We voted on it at the end and said, yeah, let's run with that. I think we ran out of time, and so this the grammar questions, so we could get a little Shakespeare to clean it up.
Fair enough. Let's see. I have a hand from Glenn. Go ahead. Let's see. I can unmute you. There. No. Glenn, I think you're muted still.
I certainly am. Thank you. When I see these two together, I think they go together amazingly well. One says what they should be, one says what it shouldn't be. And they're really the two sides of the same coin. So I'd like to see them pulled together into a single concept, emphasizing the positive, and you can get the negative in there, but they're both the same basic principle, which is let's do what the data, the facts, the system tells us what we should be doing.
Let me actually, that gives me an opportunity to sort of clarify the process here. If we had more time, we definitely, take this further and help to sort of wordsmith and combine these kind of things. We probably won't have time to do quite that level, but they will end up there right on the report together, and you'll have a chance to sort of weigh in on both of them. So they'll still be there, but I'm not sure we'll have a time to sort of combine these two meaty things together.
If I could just second Glenn, though, because I think 21 and 22 are really two sides of the same coin. And by presenting them as two different things, you end up just saying, oh, well, do you make it so that each one gets half the votes, basically. And so they would be stronger as one point. They would both benefit.
Clarify, actually, there won't be a voting in between things. You'll be voting on each of these individually. You won't have limited votes like last time. So that won't be an issue, but I hear you there. Does other people have opinions about that? Adair, I see a hand.
Yeah, I agree with what combining them makes them stronger, and maybe perhaps we could, as the panel, make it as a recommendation, turn it from a principle into the recommendation like Len had been suggesting. Maybe the wording could be a little bit different to make it that way, if that's possible.
Fair enough. Yeah, I should say we can really do anything that you want to do as well. Jeremy, I see a hand up.
Yep, and I would just agree as well. Just to throw another hand up into the pot. I do agree that these are two very similar things. Both are actually referencing politics. So just like really getting the facts and kind of making a good big pitch to this. So yeah, I agree too.
All right, fair enough. Well, I hear that. Lots of
Lynn,
Ellen, I see a hand up.
Lynn, really quickly, it's Kelly. It's just Kelly. Just
yeah.
a really quick too, that some people are agreeing in the chat, and I don't know if you need that to sort of help.
Oh, got it. Actually, if you could keep track of that, and yeah, I guess let me know.
Okay. So Annette has agreed, and Brian has agreed.
Okay, fair enough. Alan.
Yes, Lynn. I think those are very good topics over here, based on politics, history, and of course how we handle with this pandemic, based on current situations, and of course learning how to figure out what the key principles are, the core concepts of that.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn.
I haven't been doing a great job here with timing myself, so let's move on here to group 3, the representative from group 3. Could you tell us what you've done?
We decided that, well, our preliminary decision was that we need to reword or drill down on it's a downward spiral from there. And one of the things that we came up with is every person has the right to have appropriate shelter, secure housing, dwelling, and that affects every person around them and their community. They have a right to a secure place to live. When you start putting people out of their homes, be it foreclosure or eviction, it creates a mess for the entire community because now you have displaced people who are either going to be on the streets, breathing in each other's space, or you're going to have people moving into other people's homes, be it a house or an apartment, where you have the potential to create more havoc because you only have, in a rental situation, so many days that someone can stay with you before they have to go on the lease. And if they've been evicted, it's going to be hard for them to get on the lease for a new place to live, which means that you're creating more, potentially creating more havoc for more people because people are not being assisted in staying in their homes.
So Lori, let me just stop you right there. What is the sort of final wording or the wording that you came to in your group? What part of it here is
The very last part. Every person has the right to have appropriate shelter, secure housing. Yeah, that.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Let's go to group 4. Representative from group 4.
Yes, I am the spokesperson for group 4, and hopefully I'm not muted this time. This concept came out of our 2 economics specialists who talked to us as some of our first witnesses. And they both agreed independently that it is very important that, and it's a matter of fact, the health and economics are going to be moving together. And we went through talking about, how so much is interrelated into this area. But let's move on to the end of that, where we see the statement in bold: the economy will be influenced by health factors such as the rate of infection, vaccine availability, and effectiveness. This is trying to be a positive statement that we can elaborate on, but will move us to see that as the health factors get taken care of and our policies revolving around those health factors are implemented, we will also be able to move the economy. They do not move separately. They will move together. This means, how do we spend money? What policies do we make? There's a host of things that government can do to impact this, but that statement in bold is going to be the keystone, I think, of where we're going to build on.
All right, we just have a few minutes here for any comments. Put your hand up in the room if you want, with the raise hand feature, if you want to say anything about this one here, or let me just scroll back up to this one up here. All right, we can always come back to them, and feel free to put notes in chat as well. I think Kelly is following along in chat, so let me know if there's stuff there.
Yeah, Ken has said, do you want me to read what Ken has written?
Sure.
Ken has says, while I agree entirely with the ideas presented on Principle 43, the question is how to capture those thoughts in a single statement of principle that is broad enough to encompass the rights the group highlighted. Quote, while developing responses to the pandemic, Oregon should strive to ensure that the pandemic does not exacerbate pre-existing inequalities or create new ones. Helping those most impacted, particularly those in danger of losing their housing, should therefore be a priority, end quote.
All right, thanks. Any other comments on these ones here? Reminder to just take notes of anything that you're hearing if you're from these groups and are hearing things that you might want to take into account in the next revision. All right, I'm not hearing anything, so let's go on to group 5.
That would be me. So, okay, it looks like all of our notes were deleted. because it was copied, and so the text was kind of removed. We basically took 29 and 30 and added them on to, what was it? 27, not, okay. We took 26 and 30 and combined them with 27. The local businesses tend to be underrepresented in the essential category, especially when you look at what groups are counted as essential by a lot of places. So we basically tied it in, and we said every job that exists in a community fills a need, and everything should be done to make sure that those jobs are there for each person to return to. More help is needed for locally owned small businesses to keep them from going under permanently, as evidenced by the fact that Congress thought small businesses were important enough that they supported them by giving them grant money for a short amount of time. We believe that, in keeping with the above, procedures for small business financial help should be as simple as possible. And that last sentence was one of the ideas thrown around by the group, that in order to help those small businesses keep those essential jobs, we need to make it as simple as possible for those small businesses to get the funding that they need so they can stay afloat, so they can keep people employed, because everybody's essential. Everybody's got a bill to pay.
All right, thanks very much. And the representative from group number 6. Who is the representative from group number 6? No?
Oh, we still can't hear you, Phyllis.
Oh. You are unmuted, so that's not the problem, but we can't hear you for some reason. Huh, not sure what's going on there. Well, while Phyllis is working that out, any comments from anybody on group 5, small businesses and essential jobs? Alan, I see your hand there. Go ahead.
Yeah, essential business, essential jobs are very important over here. They have different types of essential businesses over here, like grocery stores, like the post office. Yeah, I worked at the United States Postal Service as a holiday clerk assistant. Yeah, I've been working over there for 6 weeks during the holiday season, and it's very essential. We deliver letters, flats, and packages to residents and businesses all around Oregon. That helps.
Got it. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Got it. Let's we have a couple more hands up here really fast, and we're going to have to move pretty quick through these next couple comments. So Lori, real quick, if you would.
My only comment is that with the way that the government handed out the funds, the grant money, there needs to be a way to make sure that small businesses are actually receiving that grant money and it's not being gobbled up by larger businesses who may or may not necessarily need the fund.
Fair enough. All right. Do we have Phyllis back? I just want to check really fast. Phyllis, can
Can
you?
you hear me now?
Yes. All right. All right.
Okay.
Let's hear from group 6, and then I see your hand. Right.
Okay, I'm just going to read it. What the suggestion was, my suggestion was essential service workers should get hazard pay, and that was input with the others. Essential workers are determined by the number of hours they have to work, provide the necessary services. These workers include transportation, grocery, medical, food service, and others that are assisting other people during the pandemic, basically. And that was mainly to try and clarify what an essential worker was, why they should get hazard pay, and how they should be determined to be hazardous workers.
All right, super. Ken, I do see your hand there, but I both want to give other folks a chance to jump in and move on to see if anybody has comments about group 6 here, but I will come back to you if we have time. Just conscious of time. Anybody on group 6? All right, we can always come back to that. Let's keep moving here, and we'll come back when and if there's time. Group 7 representative.
That would be me. Ours was getting kids back into school safely, and we kind of tweaked it a little bit so that we weren't just looking at the children, but the entire group. So getting kids, teachers, and their households back into school safely. The wording might need to be tweaked a little bit there, but it was more of, it's not just about the kids' safety, it's about the teachers' safety and what they could bring back to them. And then we were looking at pulling in the technology aspect from Principle 56, but we ran out of time there. Yeah.
Okay, super, thanks. Any comments from anybody on 5, 6, or 7?
There was a comment really quickly, Lynn, in the chat. There's a handful of folks agreeing with different elements. Ken posted, group 5 text strikes me as incorporating both a principle, supporting employment by supporting small local business, and various specific recommendations on specific policies that address that principle. And then 2 other folks agreed with what he said.
Got it. Okay, Ken, do you have anything to add to that since your hand is up as well? Oh, I think you're muted.
There we go. It's just that I think depending on what you want your report to look at the end, it might well end up being stronger to break out the principle, make it short, and then break out the recommendations and put those under the recommendations section. It's really just a drafting question.
Super. Well, that's perfect, and what a great segue. That you'll be doing more of that in the next couple sessions here, for sure.
One more quick note
Yep,
on about the education that Annette has shared is my thinking is tutors and tech support to go along with number 56.
All right, cool. If you're in that group, maybe make notes. Reminder for everybody to make notes of these kind of things. All right, group 8 representative.
Lynn, we didn't quite get there, so I was going to nominate Nancy if she's willing.
Okay, super. Nancy?
So the principles that we devised from the original was to focus on equity. All students have to be engaged. We want to have access for all students in our solution, so whether that be tutoring or internet, and to have health safety for students, teachers, and parents.
All right, super. Any comments on number 8?
Ken has added in the chat string, it would be great. I think he typed this even before she started speaking. Nancy spoke. He said it would be great to work in the concept of equity into the education principle. And then to rewind back a little bit, Brian just commented and said, don't forget the small businesses that don't have actual employees that are 1099s.
Okay, great. Thanks for those. Glenn, I see your, Ken, I think your hand was up from previous. Glenn, I see your hand up here. Go ahead.
Yes, regarding group 7 and 8 on the education side, I don't see much emphasized in here about the ancillary services that the children receive from the school system, the food that they may not have at home, the concerned adults around them that they may not have at home, the things that they may not have in their typical home environment. I mean, here in Portland, we have many people, children who are homeless, living as part of homeless, that rely upon the school for a lot. I'd like to see those concepts incorporated to some extent in group 7 or 8, because they are very key in helping those kids in need through their life.
All right, thanks. And I think our last comment may go to Annette. Go ahead. Annette, I think you may be muted.
All right, that worked.
Yep.
So in my area, we have this program where they help the kids with school lunches, and even during the summertime. So since the pandemic started, they have set up drop-off points in our town where people can go and receive lunches. It's been kind of difficult to set up the social distancing, but for those people who, you know, need food, there's been quite a few lining up to get food. If we could keep that program going and like extend that to other communities, that would probably be really helpful.
All right, thanks. And thanks to everybody for that. I think we're going to have to leave it there for today.
Lynn, one quick other note, sorry, about that Ken suggested. The principles discussed by groups 7 and 8 strike me as another example of two principles that would be much stronger if combined into one. And Brian and Jeremy both agreed.
Okay, fair enough. And I kind of I was like, oh, well, I don't know if we have time for that. But of course, there's always the possibility to do that. We can even combine those groups when we work on this again. So thanks for that. That's great suggestions there from everybody. Thank you so much for your participation in that whirlwind tour through our potential principles. Now I'm going to try to finish this up in just a few minutes so we can all head home, but we have a few very important things to do. The first thing I wanted to just remind you all that all the results from the survey, you just saw sort of the very top line kind of percentages there from the Oregon's Kitchen Table survey. All the results, including many pages of yes, Wendy described them, sort of letters from various folks around Oregon to you, are on your panelist resources page. So take a look there. Kelly has spent some time to try to break them out into easier to read documents. So take a look at that there if you can this week. It could add something to your future discussions. So the last main thing we need to do here is decide what to do with session 6 and 7. So you have 2 remaining sessions now. And by the way, it should be mentioned, I know there were maybe a couple people that weren't sure whether they were willing or able to do session 7. And that's okay, you won't be penalized for not doing that. That wasn't part of your original agreement. But for everybody that can, of course, it would be amazing if you could, and the panel will be doing some of its most important work still on that very last session. You'll also be paid, of course, just like with all the other sessions, sort of be tacked on to what you're already being given as a stipend. So the question here is, should the Assembly use sessions 6 and 7 to continue to work on both housing and education, or to work on housing, or just education, or just one of those, but you don't quite care which one, or you don't have a strong opinion with either of those. So those are kind of going to be the choices. There are going to be 4 choices in this poll that we're about to take. And don't launch it yet. I have a couple more things to say. So yeah, your choices will be continue to focus on housing and education, or focus only on housing. We're just going to do just housing, just education, or the last option is, yeah, I think we should do just one of those, but either one is okay. And we're going to add whoever says that to whichever the housing or the education gets most votes. So you're just sort of voting for, you don't care the subject, you just care that it's kind of one or the other. And here's the sort of rationale both ways, kind of the trade-offs. On the one hand, you've set it up so far, you've been exploring both of these topics, and some of you may want to say, we should continue with that, what we've been working on so far, both of these topics. Some of you may say, as we've heard in feedback, we've been really rushed and we'd love some more time. And so this is an opportunity to basically buy yourself some extra time to sort of focus in on recommendations around one or the other of these. You may also want to think about what you heard in the OKT survey today, or in other stuff, think about your sort of experience so far in how you make this choice. All right, I'm going to see just really fast. I know it's 7:59 p.m., but just if there's anybody that has an absolutely burning comment, especially somebody that hasn't spoken already today, I'm going to give preference to that. If anybody has a burning comment before we take this vote. All right, seeing none. Jenna, go ahead and launch the poll. Super, here we go. So you can see, and just one more time, that last option, because it could be a little bit confusing, is to work on one of those topics, but either one, it'll just be added to whichever the B or C comes out in first place. All right. Jenna, also, just while we're doing this here, if you can post the link to the researchers survey in chat, so it's there.
Lynn, this is Kelly. I already had it ready to go.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, we'll just give it a few more minutes. Let's see. It looks like some folks are still thinking about it here. Oh no, I'm wrong. We have all 36. Okay, great. Well, the votes are in, and as I mentioned, what's going to happen is that work on only one topic is going to be added to housing or education. Unfortunately, there's a tie between housing and education. So it's clear there's a plurality for working on, actually a majority for working on just one topic, but I'm not sure we've gotten to which topic. Jenna, how quickly could we create another poll? Is that possible or no?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just really fast, if folks can hang on for just another minute, let's create another poll, just work on housing or work on education. That's what it's going to be between here.
And while Jenna, this is Kelly, while Jenna is doing that, just a note, as some of you have noticed, we've had some wacky things going on with Zoom today. Zoom did an update on Tuesday, a pretty substantial update that gave some increased functionality and then also kind of messed with some stuff. So if between now and next Thursday, you could update your Zoom, that would be lovely. And if you don't know how to do that, please email me.
All right.
Oops. Sorry, let's see. I created a new poll and I'm not sure that's not showing up. Oh, here we go.
Thanks for your patience, everybody. Appreciate it. We do have an even number of panelists in 36, so if it's an even number for each of these, I think I'm gonna have to roll a dice of some kind. But chances are it won't be. It won't be.
Jenna, I have this is Kelly. I have the second poll ready to go. Do you want me to launch it? I can see your work. I can see your work here. There's a drop down.
Got it. There we go. No, sorry. It was
there it goes. Yep.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yep.
All right, we're just waiting on 3 more votes here. All right, that's 36. Oh my gosh, so close. 19 to 17 in favor of housing. So we'll focus on housing, and apologies to the large amount of the panel that wanted to go the other direction. And I know there was 11 people, I think, in that first round that wanted to focus on both still. So there was pretty close votes, and but I hope we'll come together around this purpose. We'll focus on housing for the next 2 sessions both, and come out with some great recommendations, and also finish up on those on the last bit of sort of going back into those principles that you got feedback on today. So for the moment, click on the link to the researcher survey in chat, head to the researcher survey, And I'll just wait here in case anybody has questions. You're welcome to ask me questions. But if you've made it to the researchers survey all right, then feel free to head out into the beautiful evening here. But feel free to ask me questions too. Put up your hand in chat or in raise hand feature if you do have any questions, or if you have trouble getting to the researchers survey. And to anybody that may be watching the live stream later, good night.